Hey Jamie. Hopefully you can hear me. Spur of the moment, try to get this video knocked out for you guys. Okay, let's see. Hey Louise. Hey Jamie. I don't know how many we'll get this time of the day, but better late than never, I guess. Hi Tara. Hi Joan. Let me play the intro and we'll go ahead and get started, guys. Hey guys. Well, that's good, Tara. Great. I do apologize. It was beyond my control. Really, nothing that I could do. Yeah, you kids just got home from school. Well, this was planned for Monday, but I'm going to show you guys a little bit about it. And I have some inquiries about the Tonic craft kit, and there is going to be a link below for that for all of you guys that are watching back. If you see the red live button, then we're still live, and if you don't see the red live button, we are no longer live, but you can still watch it and still click the links below. This is the woodland tree trunk card that I did, and when you open it up, the log rolls up on that. Let's see, is my camera working? I think my camera may be a little stuck. There it goes. But when you open it up, it's just going to roll up like so, and it will lay back semi-flat, not completely because of the mechanism. And I'm going to show you guys how that mechanism works and how to put this card together. If you are a Patreon, you already have this file. It is in the exclusives tab. If you are not a patron, then you can see how to create it from the tutorial where we put it together. Just to give you guys a little insight, I'm going to cover the box first and then we'll go over the file. I used a lot of the product out of the Tonic craft kit, guys. I got this for $39.99. There's a link below. They come out with one every month. It's like a paper crafting mystery box, and I love them. In this one, this is kit number 20, and sometimes you can get some of the back order ones. So don't feel like you missed out, because if they have some, you can get them. But I got my twine. I got a whole jar of the champagne shine sequins. I got a bottle of the mica mist. Love this stuff, and I did use it on this card. I didn't use it on the other, but I'm making a variation on this. I got a full size of the latte, cafe latte Nouveau drops. I got the shimmer powder, full size. I got a trial size of the dirty bronze Nouveau drops, the crystal drops. I got the Woodland Walk paper pack, which has the double-sided papers in it that I did use on this card. These three are, or the top two are. You get a hard craft book with a folder in it that you can label, and several papers. You get, this is the log paper that I got. Guys, this stuff is gorgeous. Look at that. Already embossed. Textured papers, the different bamboos, shimmer papers. all of this came in this box, and I've already used the foil that came out of this as well. As you can see, I used that piece, so I don't have any of that to show you. And it was packaged, all my paper was packaged in there so it didn't get bent. But I also got stamps, the dies for those stamps, and the large die set, and you can interchange the windows in these boxes. So for 40 bucks, guys, it's worth signing up for. So if you're into paper crafting, this is huge, because you can get everything except the paper, of course, stored on a shelf in this little envelope right here. Know exactly where your dies are. You can use your Cricut and cut yourself a label, or use the label here to wrap on the outside. But to me, for $39.99, well, I know for a fact that the Nuvo drops are sometimes $6 a bottle. So, you know, it's totally worth it. The die itself is 40 bucks. So that's what you get in these craft kits from Tonic. And again, there is a link below for you guys to get that. And I'm just going to set it to the side because I know I'm going to use some of the drops out of there for this card. Hey, Kathy. And let's see. These are the products that I used on the one that we're making today, guys. I used just regular old craft paper. I used the cricut foil this time. I had a scrap of that, so I used it, where on this one I did use what they sent me in the copper color. So I'm using that. And then I used some of the basil. This is the 110, I believe. And it is in, because I know somebody's going to ask me later what color this is. Well, usually it says, oh, it says craft. That's the craft color in the basil. And then for the tree trunk, I used basil as well, because I wanted to save some of my paper that came in my kit. I wanted to save some of that. So I used the basil. Wow, that's really hard to see. Milkshake. So that's what that one is. And then I used 3 of my Cricut green papers for that. Now with this card, let me show you what the file looks like so you can understand how this is going to go together. I'm going to flip over there really quick and show you guys. This is the file. And the way that I cut these pieces in that file, all I did was, because I wanted to use different colors, is I lined up my cardstock and I grouped it. I aligned it all to the left, made sure I had it like I wanted it, and I grouped it. And once I had it grouped, I brought in my image and I duplicated that 3 times, and I selected it and I did a line center, okay, and I grouped it. And then I placed it over onto my cardstock like I wanted it, okay? And then I did my ungrouping, and I ungrouped everything, okay? And once I got it ungrouped, I didn't move anything, and I selected one of the trees over here in my layers panel, and then one of my pieces. I selected those, and I attached. And I moved that piece out of my way. And then I did the same thing. I selected one of the trees, and I selected the next panel, and I attached, and I moved it out of my way, and then I selected the rest, and you can see I have my wording down here on this one. You can put it on either one that you want, and I attached, okay? And that's how I cut it. Now make sure that when you cut, that you put in a piece of paper that's big enough for it to write this whole thing on, so that it cuts in the proper space. Because you can't slice writing. When I tried to slice this, some you can, some you can't. It depends on how it was designed. When I tried to slice this one, it left me with nothing but the teeny tiny leaves at the top. So Some of them you can. It depends on how, if they welded, what they did, or if they just attached or whatever. So this is a way around that because we can't slice writing. So I'll show you those and how they came out so that you can better understand it. I'll come back to that over on the camera. Let's go over here. And you can see, here's my top piece. I let it draw the whole thing. And I'll use this for something later because I can reverse this maybe and use this again. I just have to cut this piece out. This is going to be the tricky piece. But I just let it write the whole thing and then cut where it was supposed to cut. Okay? So make sure that your paper can handle what you're putting on it. And you can see here I use some of those Nouveau Mist. I used my scrap here to kind of spray on it to see how it was going to look. They look really pretty. Let's go back to the file for those of you who are not patrons so that you can see what is involved. And you guys are going to see more about what we have here as we go. This is your card base. These are your panels. Okay. And this is your stabilizer piece. I cut this out of craft. And then this is your mechanism. It is out of craft paper. This is the inside piece. And this is your actual tree trunk. Okay. And if you're using the designer paper that came in like the Tonic kit, you can cut it by hand. That's what I did. I just cut this piece from white cardstock and then cut it by hand because you can actually trim these pieces off if you're using something like that. But if you're using something like vellum, you'll need these two tabs on that piece. And I'll tell you why as we're making the other. Because you can do more than a tree trunk with this card, guys. You can make it look like a margarita or a glass of lemonade or tea. You can do all sorts of making invites out of this for maybe a barbecue. So lots of stuff to make that roll up to a bottle or a glass or something like that. But those are the pieces you're going to need, and let's go over and I'll show you how to put this together. And on that basil cardstock, I used the Tim Holtz 3D Textures. Don't mind me, I accidentally tore my paper. This is the 3D Texture Fades Lumber 662718. I think it's still available. If it's not, you might be able to find one on eBay or Etsy. But that's what I use to make my tree trunk out of that basil cardstock. And I have everything cut. On this piece here, on the original card, I did use the foil quill. So if you guys are using your foil quill, that's what I used on this one. But you can use ink pens. You don't have to have that. I did this one with ink. I used the Cricut brown glitter for the inside on that craft basil. And just because it was going to be on camera for the tree part, I did it in black Cricut ink so that it would show up well on camera, because the gold glitter is what I really wanted to do it in, and it didn't show up well on camera. So this is the Cricut gold glitter, and it does, guys, show up really, really, really well on the paper itself. You can see I've got little marks. It just doesn't show up here well. But it will show up on your paper well in real life on the cardstock, so you can draw your tree with that gold if you want to. It will show. But that's what I had planned. But just for today, I used the black Cricut pen so you guys could see it easier. That's my stabilizer piece and then my tree. So I'm going to start with my tree pieces first, because this is a little trick that I did. I made sure that I had them all facing the right way. You don't want a piece stuck like this. Make sure all of your pieces are like they need to be. And then just flip all of them over so you know they're going the right direction. And then I'm just going to use some washi tape. And line these up And I'll show you why this is an important step here in a minute. I'm just going to tape that down. I got it hanging off the edge a little bit there. I don't want my washi tape to show through. Then I'm going to get another piece. And line that up. And tape that down. So now I basically have one card panel. Now if you did yours all on one panel, you can skip that step. Not needed. And then I'm using my card base, which I cut from the regular craft card stock for this card. And let's go ahead and press that down. And now I can line that up and center it and make sure that I've got it centered instead of trying to work with 3 pieces and making sure that I've got it where I want it. If I taped it with the washi tape, it's like working with 1 piece. Trust me, you don't want to try to do it the other way, because you may get that first piece on, it looks great, and then you have a great big gap at the bottom. And if you do, then you're going to have to add something. You can always cover it up, but this is just a little bit easier. For me it is. If anybody has a better way, please share. So now I'm just going to lay that down. I could turn on those lasers, but I don't know what we'll do to the camera. Got a little piece of fiber or something hanging off there. So now I'm just going to let that dry. And now that front is basically done except for putting some Nuvo drops and stuff on it. I did use the shimmer dots and things on there. Make sure you get enough glue. I missed a section. Since you've got 3 sections, make sure you get all your edges. Alright, and that takes care of the front till we're ready to finish it off. I'm just going to open that back up. And now our panels are going to go in. Hey guys, you're not late. But I'm just putting a little bit of glue on here. And guys, you do want to glue this. You can try some score tapes and stuff, but this piece does get stress on it, this mechanism. So you want to be sure that it's going to be secure. And I'm using art glitter glue. I'm not using a lot of glue because, as we know with foils and things like that, if you use a lot of glue, it's going to show. It's going to bump up and all of that good stuff, and you don't want that. So now I have that piece ready. Now this is your mechanism piece, and there is a score line about a 1/2 inch in, and you're going to, I'm going to give that a second to dry. Give that a score. So when you fold it, it's going to look like this. And then there's a score right here on these tabs as well. And it's going to look like that. And to help it along, you'll want to give it a little curl. Now, if you are cutting, like if you have your craft paper, guys, if you pull it out, I don't know if you can see how mine is naturally curving that way, like that. It's all natural. This is against the grain. This is with the grain. So I made sure that when I put mine on my mat, that I turned it the way that it was curling, so that when my piece cut, it would be with the grain and give it a natural curl. So that will help you with this card. So get you a good little curve in there. And then you're going to take this piece and you'll want to adhere it to your mechanism. So I'm just going to run some glue down this edge. this edge. And you want to give it a curl too, and it'll curl easy because it got embossed. And get it all lined up to cover that. And I know some of you are going to ask me why not just cut it out of the brown paper. It needs some stability because it's going to pull against itself when we put this together. So you need something, a heavy cardstock you could probably do and not have to do 2 layers. But like this specialty paper, it's not strong enough to withstand it and do that. You would tear it. It would eventually tear because it's going to get some work. They're going to play with it. Just give that a second to dry. And it's okay that this is a little bit longer than this. Not going to hurt anything. And let me see if I remember. I have to remember. Oh, with it open. Let's do that edge. Yep. So I don't know if you guys can see what I did right there, but with it open, I'm going to come, let's see. Is that right? I'm trying to decide what I decided. No, that is not right. With it folded this way. That's it. With it folded just like this, these edges should be right here. Okay? And you're going to glue this down on this piece. And that's going to help you kind of get it centered. You don't have to have it centered that way. You can put it where you want it on there. But that just helped me because I wanted mine almost centered. And I just messed up. You don't want to glue that. Ah! Other side. Yeah, please forgive me. It's been one of those weeks. Some of you know, some of you don't know. I lost my fur baby the day before yesterday, and I'm just not completely with it. Let me grab. You don't do that. You don't want to glue, and I'm just using a little alcohol. You can use alcohol wipe, baby wipe, whatever. Taking that glue off. Don't glue that side. That's the side that has to move freely. So I was right the first time. With this edge up against here, these are glued there. So line that up against your panel over here and then glue these 2 panels down. So let's do this the right way now. So I'm just going to hold it, get it kind of centered where I want it, and I'm just going to fold that under and glue it down. And the same here. Just fold it under and glue it down. That's gluing the correct side. And give it a minute to dry. Now I did test it, and I did use art glitter glue on this one, guys, and art glitter glue did hold it to the foil. So when you open it up, you can just come in here and give it a good rub. We're just going to give it a second to dry. And a second for that to dry so it doesn't, I'm glad that won't be seen, so it doesn't stick. Okay, so now that we have that piece done, your stabilizer piece. And you're just going to take this tail and you're going to run it under there just like that. Okay? This stabilizer piece goes over, or actually under here, and it doesn't have to be exact, but you want to glue it down and not get any glue in the track area. But you want to make sure that you get enough for it to hold. And I just wanted you guys to see, because I'm going to close this back over, and I am going to run that stabilizer over this piece, like so, and glue it down. See if you guys can still see in there how I glued that. That's all I did on each end so that it can still move, but it's just going to be a stabilizer piece. You can press that down. Then you're going to, once it dries, you can pull this right up to where that stabilizer starts to give you your curve. That's very important. And you'll want to hold it there. And then you're going to glue just the end of this piece down. And you're just going to let it, hold it till it dries. And then with it, once it's dried, you're going to flatten this down, and that's where your score is going to go. And that's why we don't score it with the Cricut, because we don't know exactly how far you're going to pull it for your curve, and you don't want that fold in the wrong place. Is everybody with me so far? Even with my boo-boo? Has anybody got any questions? I forgot my pop dots. So now I'm just taking some of these foam squares that are a mess for me. I don't like these. I got these at Hobby Lobby, and I just don't care for them, so I'm trying to use them up. But I can see my score right there, okay, where I folded that. And I'm just coming just inside that and just above it, so that it's not in the way of the mechanism on the top and the bottom. I may have to turn that so I can see it. There we go. And I think I used 4, maybe 5. And this piece is totally up to you guys. I found when it was flat that it didn't allow this to move as well. So that's why I pop dotted it up, just in case you're wondering. And those to peel for me, and of course it didn't. This is why I don't like them. Half the time they just don't peel well. And that one didn't peel well either, did it? There we go. Didn't peel the backing off of it at all. You're just gonna get all of those ready. Just doesn't want to get the paper. There we go. All right. Now with this card, you want to line it up right where your score is at. So wherever your fold is, and it may help if you fold it in, just kind of right up on that. And press it down. And now you have your working mechanism. I should have put mine down just a tiny bit further, but it's okay. But you can do this, guys, with lemonade, a glass of tea, with a straw. Use vellum. You can use vellum and put your straw like in between, or stamp on your vellum and emboss it. Lots of things you can do with this card. Bottles of ketchup, all sorts of things. So that takes care of that, except for decorating it, guys. And of course you can decorate and embellish however you want. You can do dragonflies or butterflies or any of that stuff. Is anybody having any design space questions or issues that you need to go over? Does anybody have any questions there? Yeah, tons of things you can do with that, Jamie. Kids cards, birthday cards, all sorts of things. Invitations. Okay, I am going live tomorrow for Patreons. Tomorrow is the second Saturday in the month, and I will be going, that's the video for Patreons only, the live. And we are going to be making, and this is just my mock-up. I am working on making the card, and I will show it to you guys here shortly after I get it put together. But here is my mock-up on that. So if you guys are not patrons and you want to see this video and this, you'll need to join us on Patreon. There's a link below, and you'll have access to tomorrow's video and tutorial. But we are making this, everybody keeps saying that with the dimensional cards like these and things like that, that the envelopes don't fit. I am making a Mother's Day card, which you can change for any occasion, and I don't have that tied tight enough. I know this is my mock-up. But this is like a box, but it's split so that it will open up and reveal the card inside. And I am making a dimensional card that goes with this. I'm just not going to show it on this video. And but you'll be able to put like the cards with the roses on the top of them and things like that, that you do the 3D roses. They are going to fit in this, guys. So you can put a gift in there with the card, or you can put a dimensional card in there up to 1.5 inches. This is going to be up to 1.5 inches deep. So, and it's going to open up, and this is just all white paper, guys, and some scraps that I had, but this is going to be lined with your decorative papers and things like that. So that is coming tomorrow. It is a patron only video. If you want to learn how to make that, you'll have to become a patron. And the next video for non-patrons will be on Monday. And I'm not tying very well today, but that's okay. But tons of stuff. Like I said, this is a mock-up. I don't even have the decoration on the top of it yet. None of that stuff. But I will be posting a picture so you guys can see it. So if you guys have any questions for Design Space, any of that, again, ask in the groups. You can ask here. You can come on Mondays and ask. You don't have to have the Tonic kit to make this. Again, you saw that I made this with cricut and basil, and you could probably do all cricut paper, but I didn't have any more brown cricut. So tons of things you can do with this card. Easy to make. And again, I apologize to all of my regulars that didn't get to see me on Monday because of a postpone, and then on Wednesday, of course, with the death of my fur baby. So I thought I would come on and go ahead and get this video out to you guys so that we could start fresh tomorrow with patrons, and again on Monday with our regular videos. So thank you guys for joining me. Thank you, moderators, for your help. Thank you, patrons. I'll see you guys on the next video.